Welcome to CFEDC's January 2012 forum event this evening. We are taking the opportunity to give congratulations and a sounding word to the Lower Cape Fear Sustainable Communities Consortium, LCFEDC, which recently was awarded a large HUD grant, $1.13 million. For a 2-year study of our 3-county area. So tonight we're going to be talking about sustainable communities, what that means, and new opportunities for planning in the 21st century, multi-county. If you haven't been to Cape Fear, how many haven't been to a Cape Fear EDC meeting before? Or need to give any updates? Basically, we're a somewhat new organization, founded winter of 2010, so just over a year old. And basically, we're kind of a grassroots alternative chamber, young entrepreneurs, folks in the business community that just wanted to meet and discuss issues of economic development and growth in the area. There's our mission statement, which is fulfilling the need for leadership and sustainable economic development and job creation in the Cape Fear region. And this is one of the key things we've grafted onto it, and so has Cape Fear Future. Quality of place is a linchpin of the region's future, a competitive and educational system, thriving arts and culture. A lot of us are newbies to the Cape Fear area, and I think a lot of people came here to kind of find their own way, whether you had a job or not. It was this quality of place that drew a lot of folks here. So the issue of sustainable communities is one that speaks to us because we're drawn to this very unique, I think it's in some of the presentation materials we'll see tonight, kind of eco hotspot. A lot of unique things going on here. In terms of sustainable communities, did anybody attend any of our events last spring? John Norquist, who's the president of the Council of New Urbanism. We invited him here and had events at the Press Terminal Hotel. 2-day seminars. We had some of, I don't know if you guys attended, some of New Hanover County, Brunswick County, as well as City of Wilmington staff attended. We had some work sessions and a 2-day event where John basically talked a lot about all these progressive elements where we can take zoning maps, which are by no means stagnant documents. It's not like the Constitution, it's something that's like changeable and should be changeable. A lot of it was created in the 50s and it needs to evolve as our living patterns and business patterns evolve. So we basically had incoming town and actually here's my little teaser slide too. I was going to see, does anybody know, put up this dialectic in the first slide just to say, well, the slide on the right isn't necessarily the Ogden or Middle Sound area, but it could be. And then the two on the left are two of what are called the most sustainable places in the world. Does anybody recognize them? And it'd be great to aspire to these places. The one on the left is Melbourne, Australia, which was just in a couple surveys as the most livable city in the world, with Vienna. They're kind of fighting each other. And the one on the right is Portland. There's someone here from Portland. That's the Pioneer Courthouse Square. So basically, building on the Norquist events from last year, there are these aspects that he talked about in terms of sustainable or livable communities, and these are some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. A lot of this comes from this collaboration within government, depending on where you fall party line-wise or whatnot. Government has to do certain things, and one of them is this idea of planning. So this grant comes from HUD, but it is a coordinated front between HUD, DOT, and EPA. So there's elements of not only the environment, which is crucial here, housing, as well as transportation. Some announcements in terms of our group. We do have 5 new board members. We're a new board, like I said. We rotated 5 people off with 1-year positions. If any of the folks are here to stand up and introduce yourself, I know Jennifer Warren is here.
Hi, Jennifer Warren, Warren Advisors, work with small businesses, startups, operations, marketing, excuse me, and accounting. And there's so many great entrepreneurs here and just kind of giving them the support system that they need to be successful. So, thank you.
And I know I saw Tanner here. You want to stand up?
Yeah, sure.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Tanner Clayton, and I actually have a web and mobile app firm right below us here. and I've been in the area for about a year and a half from California.
And then Todd?
Yeah, yep. Todd Bartholomew, I'm with SunTrust Bank, and I'm a commercial banker, and glad to be here.
And I know we got two RSVPs, the folks that couldn't come. We have other new board members, Tom Conway, who is a nonprofit and fundraising consultant with the Conway Company. Moved down here, I think, from the Ohio Valley, Cincinnati kind of area a couple of years ago. And then John Wojciechowski, who's a colleague of mine. I'm an architect in town. He's an architect in town also, who leads the Sustainable Technologies Department at Cape Fear Community College, who's from the board. Other news and events, everybody knows about BizTech. Meetings have been out. Rob Kaiser's really good about publications. Thursday this week, there's keynotes from a few folks. They've shortened the conference from 2 days to 1 day, but it's 5 hours on Thursday at the Convention Center. I think today is the last day. I don't know if you can still go in and put a code in. CFEDC had a code as well as some other folks in terms of getting in the $5 for the exhibition hall. We'll have a booth on the right-hand side as you come into the exhibition hall at number 720, so look for us there.
What are the 5 hours? What are the hours of the?
The keynote is from 12 to 2, so the exhibition hall is closed. That'll be Mr. Eshelman and Jim Hunt speaking. And then 2 to 7 is the open exhibition hall. 2 to 5 is kind of the working the hall, and then I think the 2 hours is called the after hours period, which means, I guess, crates of beer come out. 3 hours of business and then 2 hours at 5 o'clock. We haven't completely decided on a March forum topic. We had a lot of lists from a retreat we had in the winter. We have moved to a bi-monthly schedule versus monthly. It's kind of tough in terms of all of our business schedules and whatnot. And as everybody knows tonight, I'm glad we have a mostly crowded room. There's 2 other big events going on tonight. The Titan Study is at the Northeast Library, and then John Hennett is having a downtown visioning forum down the street. So glad you could all attend tonight. We didn't know what kind of crowd we would get with other competing events tonight. It was kind of funny too. As an architect, I'm on the state board, and I was up in Raleigh at we have a new headquarters building. And it's kind of interesting because we talk about livability a lot, and I just, for reference, look back at some of the things that we have. We have a livability 101 that kind of talks about, and they're very similar to the 6 tenets, and I thought these were kind of interesting ones to kind of reflect on as we talk about very similar things, maybe a little more quality-based versus quantity-based, which a lot of the presentation with HUD and the metrics get into numbers. But these are 10 of the tenets for AIA and architects in their urban design working on sustainable communities, human scale, providing choices, mixed-use development, urban centers, varying transportation options, vibrant public spaces, neighborhood identity, protecting the environment, conserving landscape, and that design matters. Good design matters. And there's tons of other groups out there. If you're interested, and I've done this in the last week or two, kind of working with the folks here to present, you Google livable or sustainable communities, hundreds of groups come up, both local groups, city-based groups, multi-county groups. Some of the bigger ones are partnerships for livable communities. There's a whole ton of them there. You hear a lot of other concepts out there. My wife's a landscape architect. Complete streets is a big thing that's out there in terms of integrating transportation, walking, biking. Wilmington and the 3-county area are a little behind this. We grew very fast in the last decade, but I think the folks here in the consortium are going to definitely be helping us out. These guys are going to be talking more. I got this from Sean Ralston's Facebook page, and I think this was on the Star News. The Publishers Clearinghouse check. They literally had that check event in December. There she is, the 1.1, and that one's worthy of it. Some of these ones where they hand out maybe $500 or something, they're nice, but that is a big check. So these are just some of the groups, and Ben and Wanda are going to be talking more about it, but you can see it's truly a collaborative effort. You have infrastructure with Wave Transit, you have the MPO, which is already a 3-county group working in terms of Cape Fear commutes and the networks of transportation planning, Regional Development Corp, Council of Governments, which is multi-county, New Hanover, Pender and Brunswick as the main 3 counties, housing authorities from the 3 counties. It's truly a great effort in terms of everybody working together to kind of see how the region can grow. So our 2 speakers tonight, Ben and Andrea will be giving most of the discussion. He's a Pender County Planning Department employee, long-range planning, and he's the vice chair of the consortium. And then Wanda Coston is here, and she has 25 years of experience in planning, went to the Ohio State University for city and regional planning. And I'm going to take that down because that'll be the end slide, and we'll have Ben come up and present discussion of the consortium and their efforts.
Very much. I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. This is the first of this type of outreach presentation. I just want to give a little clarification. There's kind of some indication that this project had already been underway, and we're kind of going to get some results of the plan, but that's not quite accurate. We just were awarded this grant, so we are really just getting going with this project. So what I would like to do tonight is kind of go over kind of what the consortium is, how we got to where we are today, what this grant program is, where it came from, kind of what the goals of it are, and what the outcomes are that we would like to see. Kind of already went over the introductions. Wanda Coston works for Hanover County. She has worked there for 25 years, has tremendous experience. She's in long-range planning section and is a community development planner. I have worked for Pender County for the past 3 years. I've focused primarily on development review. I'm fortunate to kind of get involved with some long-range planning efforts, which is kind of unique for Pender County. It's a very rapidly urbanizing county in some areas and very rural in others. So it's an interesting challenge to kind of plan to encompass the whole county. So a little bit about the consortium. We originally came together in 2010 to apply for this same grant. Unfortunately, we weren't successful in getting that award, but we certainly kept ties, and the spirit and intent of the consortium lived on. We got word that there was some funding for this grant program again last year in 2011, so we reconvened, and we really focused on getting a great application together, and we're pretty fortunate that we were awarded. As Scott mentioned, we are a consortium. We have 11 core members, and we're all bound by a memorandum of understanding that it's all signed by our respective boards. Kind of what you can see here is really one of the first efforts in this region to get together and rally around a common goal. I think anyone that has lived here for a while or followed the news certainly knows that we have kind of a precarious political environment. Collaboration and regional planning certainly hasn't been something that has been focused on in the past around here, and we're really excited to undertake this opportunity to move forward on a regional basis. So the area for this plan encompasses the Wilmington Metropolitan Statistical Area, which includes Pender, Brunswick, and New Hanover County. One of the things that we kind of struggled with was how to define this line. What counties to bring in, who do we bring in, who do we not bring in. HUD kind of made that easy for us because we had to apply as an MSA, so that encompasses these 3 counties. So if you're from Columbus County and you feel like you're left out, we certainly value your opinion, but we couldn't include you into the consortium based on what HUD had set the guidelines for us. The Sustainable Communities Initiative was created in 2009. It's an interagency partnership between EPA, HUD, and DOT. That was kind of a revolutionary thing for the federal government to kind of work together and come together and focus on some integrated planning efforts. So this initiative was kind of formed to coordinate federal housing, transportation, water, and other infrastructure investments and policies, and really to help communities across the country increase transportation and housing options, lower those costs to residents in those regions, and doing all this while being stewards of the environment. These were shown to you just shortly ago. These are the 6 livability principles, as HUD refers to them as, and these are kind of the framework for this initiative. So again, provide more transportation choices, promote equitable, affordable housing, enhance economic competitiveness, support the existing communities, coordinate and leverage federal policies and investments, and value communities and neighborhoods. So these 6 livability principles are what HUD really wants consortiums and groups like us to lead together when we create the plan that we are about to embark on. Now, HUD HUD created a specific office to oversee this grant program back in 2010. This office was created and had two main operating areas, the first of which, Energy Innovation Fund. That was created to catalyze innovations in residential home energy, try to stimulate a retrofit market for residential energy. The second area that office focuses on is the Sustainable Communities Initiative. This was created to stimulate more integrated regional planning, guide investments, kind of align local policies that have to do with land use, transportation, and housing. And one of the ways that they challenge local regions to evaluate these is through this Sustainable Communities Regional Planning Grant program. And that's kind of where we got to today. This program was introduced in 2010. They had $100 million that they gave away to 45 areas. They had some money again last year. The demand for this funding far exceeded what was out there. They got over $500 million in funding requests. They ended up giving out about $96 million to 29 areas across the country, and we were one of those recipients. We received $1.13 million. That's just what we're receiving from HUD. Our in-kind contribution is a significant match to that. This map is a little bit hard to see on here, but this overviews the areas across the country that have received funding through this grant program, both in 2010 and 2011. An interesting side note is that the funding for this program was discontinued for the next fiscal year, so we were fortunate to get an application in and get awarded what's still available. So the funding that we received is to create what's called a regional plan for sustainable development. So what is that? The best way to define that is a multi-jurisdictional plan that integrates housing, land use, economic and workforce development, transportation, and infrastructure decisions and investments. This flow chart on the bottom is from our application. It really goes over a lot of the issues and challenges that we have in our region. And just kind of taking a glance at it, you can see how very integrated they are, particularly when we start talking about transportation and housing issues, which are particularly challenging for our region. So some of the goals for our plan include to increase the region's economic competitiveness, address population growth with social equity, inclusion, and access to opportunity. This is a graph that projects the population growth for the Wilmington MSA. We just came off between 2000 and 2010. We had almost a 32% increase in population. We're projected to have another 20% into 2020, and then another 9% from 2020 to 2030. So we certainly have to be prepared for pretty substantial population increase in our region.